If you install like this, what happens is during the service, all the cooks that's working in this line has to go towards the service table, which causes like a highway traffic jam. It's like a bottleneck effect. It's crazy. The whole point of using your layout is to make your service fast and efficient. But if you do this, you're slowing everything down. Hey guys, it's Wayne here. In this episode, let's talk about something more practical than usual. I'm going to talk about 2 commercial kitchen layouts for full service restaurants. You know, if you go to restaurants, if you take a look around the kitchen, there are quite a lot of, different layouts that you can see, right? Some of them are, squares, some of them are like, first floor, second floor. There's just so many different layouts and structures that you can find in restaurants. I've been researching, I've been studying a lot of this kitchen structures and layouts. Also taking into account with my personal experience as a chef, if you actually look at commercial kitchens, there are only 2 types of layouts. They would either modify and put them together to create something new. Most of the time, the base layout, the base structure, the fundamental work sequence, they always fall into these 2 layouts. So in this episode, I'm going to share with you these 2 layouts. The most important factor that I consider into when it comes to upscaling, guest experience is kitchen design. Because depending on how you design your kitchen, you can either sell more or you can even sell less. It doesn't really matter how much capacity that you have in your restaurant. Depending on how you design your kitchen, you can either serve 50, 100, 150, or it's gonna be really tough to even serve 25 people. If you have a chance to, work at famous, successful restaurants, take a look at, before just learning about all this cooking and recipes, have some time to take a look around the kitchen design, how they're designed, what kind of layouts they have. Is going to help you a lot in terms of when you later open your restaurant or do your own business. And also you'll realize that efficient kitchen design makes successful business. So as I mentioned, every restaurants have different types of kitchen layouts, but 90% of the time they fall into these 2 layouts. The first one is island layout. Second one is linear layout. Island layout looks like this. So most of the time, this island layout, the kitchen is square shape. They have all the cooking stoves and grills and ovens are positioned in the center of the kitchen, and all this fridge and the wells and the prep areas are pushed to the perimeter of the kitchen. They're formed outside of the square kitchen. Cooks are turning around to cook in the middle, and they're taking all this necessary stuff from their behind, which is the prep tables. And there's a service table where the head chef or the executive chef stands. They would usually stand in front of the service table, which is located in front at the bottom of the square kitchen. So the way it works is when chefs cook the orders, what they would do is they will cook the dish, bring the food to the service table to the chef, and chef will take all the components that he got from the chefs behind him, and he will put them all together on the service table. That is a typical workflow of the island layouts. There are quite a lot of benefits when it comes to using this layout. Obviously, you can keep your kitchen open and it looks really cool. It's very trending, it looks beautiful. And if you look at the kitchens that are decorated properly, oh my god, they're crazy. It looks perfect, clean, amazing. And there are quite few, there are a lot of benefits when it comes to using island layouts, which is, in my personal experience, I would say higher focus level on foods, because it's the chef who's plating. All the food that goes to the table is checked and serviced by chef. So he has to check everything before the food leaves. That's how the workflow is set in the island layout. So basically, in this kind of kitchen, the food is more likely to be more taken care of and higher quality and have processed more quality checks. And the next one would be, for chefs, it would be easier to control his cooks, because when you actually turn around from the service table, you can see the whole kitchen, you can see the whole line cooks cooking in front of the chef. Because it's the square shape, you have a clear vision of your whole kitchen. So it's very easier to control cooks. You can order grill cook to do certain stuff, and you can order a pasta cook to do certain stuff, and you can time it wisely. It's very easier to do so. And finally, it's very easy to clean. It's just because of the square shape that this kitchen has, it's just so easy to clean. All you have to do is just take out the thing and just clean it, and at the end of the night you can just wet the whole kitchen and just wipe the shit out of it. Every restaurant, they modify this layout, right? You can always modify where to install things, where to put things, right? And you can separate the walk-in fridge to a separate section. It's all up to you, but the key point of this layout is is separating the cooking zone from the service zone. So cooking zone and service zone is not combined, they're separate. So everything that comes from the cooking zone has to pass the service zone. That's how this whole layout works. So this way, cooks can focus more on cooking, chefs can focus more on checking the quality and plating the dish. The second layout is linear layout. As you can see from the name, the linear layout is just a whole straight line layout, which is probably the most widely used layout across the whole world and across the most by restaurants that we see everywhere. Island layout is often used in more of upscale and fine dining restaurants where they have to quality check on a higher standard than most restaurants. If it's not that kind of restaurant, I believe this linear layout is probably the most ideal layout for restaurants to use, and here's why. Just because of the layout itself, as you can see from the layout, the cooking zone and the prep zone, and there is a service zone just in front of the prep areas, right? Cooks can just cook in the cooking zone, he can just turn around, plate it, and he doesn't have to go anywhere, he can just plate the dish to the service area. Basically, nobody has to move anywhere. They can just stay where they are, cook their food, turn around, plate it, and throw it to a service table. That's how this whole linear layout works. And the good thing is that this layout can be used in so many different types of restaurants, such as Japanese, Chinese, most of the Asian kitchens, or even franchise restaurants, or even casual dining upscale restaurants. And also even fine dining. If your fine dining restaurant have limited space and you want to host more guests in your dining tables, you can actually save some space by installing this linear layout, incorporating some of the systems that you have from the island layouts, which is very common. So I would say this linear layout is very efficient. First, we are able to process a massive volume of service within a limited number of staffs. I think that is the best part of this layout. Second thing is it's very versatile. The setup is very versatile and it has a lot of flexibility when it comes to setting up your equipments. And as I mentioned, it has the easiest service sequence. You can just turn around and service the food. That is it. I can say if your restaurant is not fine dining, and most restaurants, every kitchen that is not fine dining, they choose to use this linear layout since it can handle massive volume of service. Because the key point of this layout is speed and efficiency. But it's just that there are a lot of common mistakes that's made by restaurant owners when they first install the kitchen. You have to modify these layouts based on the actual blueprints and and your space conditions. But the main work sequence cannot change. You can mix it up with your island layout and your linear layout, but the work sequence cannot change. The whole point of all this layout is to make your service either high quality or fast and efficient, or do a little bit of both. That is the whole point of this layout. You cannot just modify these layouts and make things harder. So you must not change the fundamental sequence of these layouts. I've seen a lot of times where restaurants install their kitchen in linear layout, but the service table is not in front of the prep table, it's at the end of the kitchen. Installing wrong types of equipment in the wrong place, causing the bottleneck effect during the service. This slows down the whole service and makes it harder to maintain the quality of the food that you serve. As you can see from this diagram, if you install like this, what happens is during the service, all the cooks that's working in this line has to go towards the service table, which causes like a highway traffic jam. It's like a bottleneck effect. It's crazy when you can simply just break the wall in front of your prep table area, or just make a small window and make a service table over there when cooks can just turn around and service the food. And that is almost the most common, mistakes of linear kitchens that I've seen in my life. The whole point of using linear layout is to make your service fast and efficient. But if you do this, you're slowing everything down. Remember, kitchen is the heart of the restaurant. This specific space has to be planned and maintained with care as much as your dining room. So that's it for today, guys. I hope this episode helped you in terms of, planning your kitchen, installing your equipment, and I hope you have a successful restaurant business in the future. I'll see you soon, guys. Bye.